Today, me and Tuck are going to show you how to grow watermelons in containers so you can harvest the fresh fruit right from your patio. Let's go! Watermelons may not be the easiest crop to grow, but the taste of a vine-ripened watermelon that's homegrown is far superior to anything you can get in the store. So sweet, so delicious, and they come in a bunch of different colors. If it's your first time growing watermelons and you're growing them in containers, I suggest you plant some small, early ripening varieties. A variety like the early moonbeam is a great choice, and also the silver Yamato. These are two varieties that I'm growing. I would suggest that you kind of stay away from growing some large, long season varieties like the Alibaba watermelon. This is a great watermelon, but it's huge and it takes a long time to grow. What I like to do is start my seeds indoors in large cells about 2 to 4 weeks before transplanting out. Using a heat mat will help speed up germination. They like the soil temperatures to be between 70 and 95 degrees Fahrenheit. In optimal conditions, they will only take about 4 to 10 days to sprout, or you can direct sow your watermelon seeds right into the containers. For my containers, I like to use these food-safe 5-gallon buckets. I drill drainage holes at the bottom with a 1/2-inch drill bit. They need to be able to drain so the soil does not go anaerobic, which means without oxygen. For soil, you can use a high-quality potting mix like Happy Frog. This is my favorite bagged soil. But what I like to do is make my own soil with coco coir, compost, perlite, and vermiculite. Once your young seedlings have 2 true leaves, they're ready to be transplanted out. Before that, I suggest you mix in some all-purpose fertilizer into your soil because melons are heavy feeders and they will need the added nutrition. Melon seedlings do not do well if they get root bound, so try your best to avoid that. Also, if the young seedlings get chilled, they may not set fruit. So be patient. It's always better to plant a bit late rather than too early when it comes to watermelons. Melons like a soil that remains consistently moist but not soggy. Using a mulch is a great idea. It will retain moisture and will keep the soil from heating up too much in the summer heat. As the plants start to vine, I cover them with a diced up leaf mulch and it works great. Watermelons need a spot that gets full sun and has good air circulation to help them dry out quickly after a rain to prevent disease. I suggest growing them up a trellis. This will allow for good airflow and they will have less issues because the vines won't be sprawling on the ground. To tie up my vines, I like using these tomato clips. They're convenient and easy to use. They make the whole trellising process simple and quick. After the vines have flowered and small melons are forming, I like to come by and prune the vine a little bit. This way, the plant can focus on the production of a few melons that will finish and ripen, rather than having a lot of extra growth and a bunch of melons that will never ripen. If you leave all the melons on the vine, most will grow to about the size of an egg and then shrivel and die. It's better to get a few good melons rather than having a bunch of melons that never reach maturity. When your melons set fruit, you should top dress them with some additional fertilizer. What I do is I pull back the leaf mulch, then mix in some all-purpose fertilizer into a potting mix or my homemade soil. Then I place this in the bucket and mix it into the top few inches, then water it in. This will make sure the vines have enough nutrition to form the melons. Me and Tuck want to mention we're having a massive Memorial Day sale on raised beds and some of the add-ons. Check out the health of the plants in here, the size of these cabbages. It's crazy. Check out this raised bed over here too. This is the self-watering raised bed. Look at the health of the plants. Look at the size of them. It's insane. We're gonna have some massive harvests coming in a short amount of time. Check out the raised beds and the add-ons over at teamgrow.us. Stay on top of watering, especially as the melons form. You don't want the soil to dry out and then come by with the heavy watering, or this could cause the melons to split as they ripen. After your few chosen melons have formed and are growing, as the summer goes on, you want to stay on top of removing some of the new flowers and the small fruit. We want our melon plant to focus on the production and also the ripening of the few chosen melons that we have growing. When your melons start to get a bit larger, make sure to give them the support they need on the trellis. I like to cut up a piece of insect netting and use this to make a little sling for them that I tie up on the fence. This will support the fruit and help keep its round shape. And the insect netting is also breathable at the bottom. Bird netting or something similar would work as well. As your melons continue to grow, keep an eye on them. When you see the stem of the fruit starting to lose some color, that's a good indication that they're starting to ripen. But Picking a perfectly ripe watermelon is not an easy thing. Some people say to thump on the watermelon. If it makes a ringing sound, then it's still green. And if it makes a dull or dead sound, then it's ripe. But it will also make a dull or dead sound if it's overripe. Other people will suggest to keep an eye on the tendril or pigtail curl right next to where the fruit is. When that turns brown, you could harvest. The thing is, that sometimes happens for some varieties about a week before they're ripe. Another thing you can do is check the underside of your melon. When that goes from like a white color to a dark, rich yellow or gold, you can harvest. Ultimately, picking a perfectly ripe watermelon is not easy. Use all the signs that I shared with you and a little intuition, and you'll be able to pick some perfectly ripe watermelons like you'll see here. I grew this one along this fence line in a pot. This is the Silver Yamato, an old Japanese variety. So let's grab this one here, cut it open. First, let's harvest it. You notice I just made a little basket out of the insect netting right there. Let's take this baby out. I can't wait to cut it open and try it. So let's have a unique flavor to it. So this variety is supposed to have like a kind of citrusy flavor with a little hint of Asian pear. It's supposed to be a really unique tasting watermelon, so I can't wait to cut into it and try it. Let's actually cut this baby open. What do you think, Tuck? Look pretty good, boy? Here we go. Oh, that opened easily. That's a good sign. It's supposed to have a nice white flesh. Oh my gosh, look at that. Absolutely beautiful. It almost looks like an unfinished watermelon because it's supposed to be white flesh. This is the Silver Yamato. So let's actually cut into it and get a taste. Slice it, sit here. Oh yeah. I've never had this one before, so it's gonna be a lot of fun to actually taste it. Looks like it could be actually a little overripe. Tuck seems to think it tastes pretty good. Let's get a taste. Mmm. So sweet, it's scary. This one's supposed to have an orange flesh, so it's on the other side of the fence. I'll grab it, but just like the other watermelon, I grew these things in pots, so that was kind of a unique thing. I've never grown watermelon in pots, but they seem to do really well. Let's cut this off, and then get this baby. See what she looks like. Let's try this one. Look how easily that thing just split open. Oh my gosh. Look at the color, holy. Absolutely striking, look at that. Crazy. Let me cut into it real quick. Then I want to grab the other watermelon to match up the colors. Oh, this one looks like it's going to be even better tasting. This one's an open pollinated variety too. Wow. Absolutely delicious. You can't beat this organic, homegrown food. And the fact that I did it in a pot, anyone can grow food like this. Stay here for a sec. I'm gonna grab the other white watermelon, just so we can have a side-by-side comparison. I think it'll help show the color. Look at that. Crazy. This is what happens when you grow your own food. You can grow some interesting varieties, stuff you've never seen before. There's a few common issues when growing watermelons. One is the cucumber beetle, which spreads bacterial wilt as they feed. A good way to protect your plants from this is by using something as simple as an insect netting. You keep this on your plants, and then as they start to flower, you remove it so they can get pollinated. Another great way to protect your plants is using the surround kaolin clay. You can see I'm using it here on my apples, but it works great on your young watermelon plants. That will protect them, and it'll make them less desirable for the cucumber beetles to go after. Another issue is the vine borer, but those two forms of protection that I showed you are great for the vine borers also. It would be hard to come out and like spray the vine borers or the cucumber beetles and get them at just the right time to kind of remove them, but protecting your vines is the way to go. Overall, growing watermelons in containers is not only a lot of fun, but it works fantastic. There's so many added benefits that even come from just growing in containers. For instance, you don't have to deal with some of those soil-borne diseases that could happen in the ground when you make your own soil or use a potting mix. So you think not having enough space to grow some watermelons in the ground is a bad thing, but growing in containers, it's awesome. I love doing it. I'm going to be planting a bunch more watermelons this year in containers and then just kind of line some of my fences with them, because there's nothing like eating those fresh, delicious, juicy watermelons, a true taste of summer. A lot of the beds are doing really nice. You can see we've got some beautiful kale here, just packed with food. And then come over here, check out the size of some of the cabbages and stuff in this bed, how big and healthy and beautiful they are. You'll see there's a little clay overspray on this because I was spraying the cherries right above me, but come over here. Look how thick we loaded the clay up on these apples. So it might not look that great, but when it comes down to it, it makes it so we can get fresh, homegrown, organic apples with no pesticides or anything, just a little clay sprayed on the top. So we're real happy with using the clay spray. We use it for so many different veggies and fruits, and it's just a great protectant overall. Tuck had a lot of fun out here. This guy's sniffing around. We'll have to grab him a snack or something to see if he wants to snack on something. Maybe we'll grab him just a piece of tatsoi. Come here, boy. We'll swing around. Let's get this guy a little snack. He loves snacking on these fresh brassica stems because they're filled with water. That's today's video, growers. Thanks for watching. We hope you enjoyed it. We hope you got something out of it. Me and Tuck really hope that you get some watermelons planted either in the ground, because you can do that, or in containers. Don't let a lack of space hold you back from growing some fantastic food at home. Me and Tuck wanted to send a thank you to one of our new channel members, Aaron Abdo. Thanks for being a part of Team Grow. Thanks for having your hand in everything we're doing out here. Don't forget to check out some merch down low. Me and Tuck will also be dropping some new merch in a short amount of time, so keep an eye out for that. Overall, we had a blast. We hope you got some value out of it. Tuck and James will be back at you again real soon. We out.